So we'll start here.
Oh
Oh,
my.
wow.
Good
And
Lord.
this is Sarah Carrick. And this was during, so mugshots really have evolved. I mean, I don't know.
All
I'm kind
right.
of a geek. I'm interested in these things. But
Hmm.
like one of the things that they used to do to save money, this is like a short-lived government efficiency thing, is they would position you in front of a mirror so that they could take your face on photograph at the same time they took your profile,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So
Right.
this is one picture of her, but she's in front of a mirror. So Sarah Carrick, right? She looks very different from the average person that San Quentin was bringing in, but this is from San Quentin.
Hmm.
Okay.
Wow.
So I've got the story for you. Sarah Carrick she was an extra in the movie industry. And
Wow,
so,
that's a tough life. I get it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
get it,
imagine.
Sarah. Not guilty.
Yeah.
But she also she was married to somebody who was like a rising star. So his name was Tom Two Gun Crawley. So this is one picture of him. I've got one better one that I want to show you
Wait,
guys
that's him with the hat?
with the hat. So the
Oh,
deal
wow.
with Tom Two Gun Crowley was that he had once been a okay, here's the big one. This is just a publicity still that they did, but much better picture,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I
Yeah.
can see. What a stud. I like
Yeah,
those
yeah.
hands though. They look murderous.
They look huge too.
Yeah,
Like,
They
that's
do
the big
look really
hands.
big.
like they'll put them
Yeah.
around a throat.
Well, he was a real cowboy, and somehow he went to Hollywood and started just being a cowboy in the movies.
Mm.
Okay.
So he was married to Sarah, and this guy named Joe Hill. I mean, this one, that's way too much stuff to have on the screen at once.
Joe Hill
Um,
got a hell of a haircut. He looked like he owns a factory or something.
he
It
was
looks.
actually a real cowboy, and he worked in Arizona, and I think that's where he knew Tom from, but I'm not positive. But they were friends, and
Okay.
so Joe Hunt was on vacation basically. So he had a little bit of money in his pocket, and he drove up to Hollywood, and he wants to go hang out with his friend. He wants to go hang out with his friend Tom, and Tom
Okay.
is married to this woman named Sarah.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
this is Tom and this is Sarah, okay?
Okay.
So not the best picture of her,
No,
but
Tom
all of
looks
the
like
pictures.
the guy who owns Curious George.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
Oh yeah, huh.
Yeah.
Well anyway, so he came over and it was April 25th, 1927 that Joe Hunt arrives. And maybe I should keep his picture up here just for a minute. And so they're all hanging out at Garrick's house. They're having dinner and everything. And Joe is like, "Hey, look, I live on a ranch in Arizona. Can we do something exciting? We're in Hollywood." And so Iris invite or Sarah invites her friend Iris over. So this is Iris.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Yep. So this is Iris, and she is also in the film industry, but I don't know what she did. But you
Okay.
kind of get an idea of her a little bit here, right?
Yeah, it's
And
sexy. Like
so,
she got hella lipstick on. She's got her little
ye-
hat on.
yeah, she's very 1920s chic, right?
Yes. Very 1920 chic.
So
Yeah.
okay, so Joe's
And
trying to get some probably.
Joe's trying to get with Iris
All
for
right.
sure. And it's not going that well. She's not mean to him, but it's not going that well.
Yeah,
She doesn't
Joe
seem
looks
that
rough. Like he
interested.
worked on a farm his whole life. He looks a little tough.
Well, he's a cowboy, so he's been out in the sun. He's a
Yeah, he
little
looks
weather
weathered.
beaten.
He's very
Yeah.
Yes,
weathered.
Yeah.
weathered. That's a really
And
good word for
yeah,
him.
he's
Yeah.
weathered.
So anyway, the four of them are hanging out and they're drinking a little bit, but you have to remember this is Prohibition days, right? So nobody's
Hmm.
allowed to have alcohol, even though everybody does. So the four of them are hanging out, and then they decide, you know what? We've had enough of each other's company. Why don't we go over to our other friend's house? So there's six people involved, which is why I'm showing you guys the pictures,
Okay.
just to keep it all straight. So they go over to Henry Isabel, who is another on-screen cowboy. This is Henry. And his girlfriend, he lives with his girlfriend, Anita. So these two live together. And then the four of these guys, so Joe, Iris, Tom, and Sarah, show up at Henry and Isabel's house. They knock on the door, they bang on the door. And these two are upstairs. They're falling asleep already. But these guys won't go away. And they stopped at a bootlegger's on the way over and got like this big gallon of moonshine. And they're like, no, no, we're here to party. Right. So finally they come downstairs and they let them in. This was a bad mistake.
Yeah.
So they're hanging out and they're mostly pouring drinks for these two because they want them to catch up. And all four of them kind of get riled up and then they decide they're going to go over to another couple's house. But that couple wisely didn't open the door. So they're like, well, how about the six of us go back to the Carrick's house? So they're riding along, and then let's go back to Joe for a second because Joe pulls something that makes everything hard.
Hey, do you know
Uh,
what neighborhood this is? They like their houses are in?
I'd have to go back and check. I don't think I had that. But this is in Hollywood
Right.
proper, so I'm
Okay,
not sure if that
okay.
makes a difference. But
Yeah.
anyway, Joe is getting pretty upset because Iris keeps blowing him off. And they're all really drunk. And so Joe is like, you know what? I'm just going to leave. But they're in the car, they're driving. So he opens the door and just rolls out, even though the car is going about 30 miles an hour. And they stop the car and they're like, what happened to Joe? And so they start looking for him. And Sarah, hold on, this is kind of difficult, right? Sarah and Henry go one way looking for Joe. And Tom and Iris go another way looking for Joe. And they eventually find him and they bring him back to the car, right? But when they get back in the car, Iris leans over. She's talking to Anita and she was like, hey, Tom made a move on me in the field, while we were looking for Joe. So he got fresh with her was the way she said it. And Iris was like,
Whoa.
so she doesn't say anything. And then Anita knows this, right? That Sarah's husband is like supposedly made this big move on Anita. So let me read this part because I won't be able to keep it straight. When Joe got back into the car, he had a gun in his pocket, a Colt 38, and it fell out of his pocket. And Sarah sees it and she snatches it up and puts it in her purse because she says she doesn't want Joe to have a gun while he's so drunk because he was really, really drunk. And then at the Carrick home, Sarah and Anita are kind of entertaining everybody. They're singing, they're dancing, and everybody else is just drinking. And then they're like, oh, let's get the neighbors. None of the neighbors answer the door. So they're just wandering around talking outside. And Sarah says, well, we should go back before Iris gets her clutches into Henry, right? This Iris is
Mm.
going to steal Henry away from you. And Anita says, like, you know what? Actually, I don't have to worry about Henry. Iris said that Tom, your husband, is trying to get fresh with her.
Oh.
Okay. Sarah gets very upset. They go back into the house, and when they do, Henry is indeed all over Iris. So Sarah storms up to him and she says, hey, you're with Anita. What are you doing preying on a drunken, helpless woman? And Tom's like, hey, Anita is not helpless. She called him over. And so they get into this big drunken brawl. First, Tom slaps Sarah,
Oh,
and then Henry gets up and he's like, how dare you hit a woman? And then punches Tom. So this
okay.
turns into this big drunken brawl. And then it seems like that just kind of died down after a while. And they're all like, let's go in the kitchen and have some coffee. So that seemed to have gone over okay. And then they're in the kitchen. Sarah makes some coffee. I have to point out though, by this time, where did he go? Joe, the guy that was the visiting guy.
Who jumped out of the car?
The guy who had jumped out of the car, they found him, they brought him back, and they wouldn't let him leave. That was the problem for him. Yeah. So this guy, he is asleep on the kitchen floor because they won't let him leave. But everybody else is sitting around the table drinking coffee, except for Tom Carrick. So we'll go back over here. I'm sorry, there's so many people involved. But Tom Carrick comes in and he's like, I don't want coffee, I want whiskey. And Anita is looking over at Sarah and she suddenly sees Sarah go into her purse and get the gun. And she was like, uh-oh,
Uh-oh.
because she knows that, Tom had been making this move on Iris allegedly. And so Sarah picks up the gun and Anita goes to like hold her arm back. But when she did, the gun went off. And the way that her arm jerked, she hit Tom directly in the chest. So Tom staggers around. He kind of reels around twice, and then he goes into the living room and collapses on the floor. So let's see. Henry follows him in a stupor. And he like kicks at him. He's like, get up, get up. He doesn't know what's going on. So Tom doesn't respond. So he goes and he's like, well, I better wake up the guy on the kitchen floor. And he wakes up Joe Hill, and he says, you know, Tom, something's wrong with Tom. Tom's been shot. And so he doesn't know what's going on. Nobody knows what's going on. Everybody's really drunk. And Anita's like, the police are probably going to come over. So she hides the gin. That was like her contribution there. But when she comes back, she sees Sarah on the floor next to Tom, and she's like, "I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I'm so sorry." And Tom was gone though. She killed him, killed
Mm,
her own husband, right?
mhm.
And so when the police got there, it took 14 hours for them to sober everybody up enough to give a statement. But it's blurry because everybody was partying, and they're all drunk and stuff.
Who
So,
knows of moonshine? That's not regulated.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
yeah. Well, it's prohibition. They shouldn't even had it. Like it's supposed to not even exist, right?
It's supposed to, but I
It's
mean, they
supposed
had like a
to.
pretty great business. Like you would never go
Yeah,
broke in Hollywood selling moonshine or anywhere
yeah,
else.
yeah.
But anyway, the five of them get indicted for murder. So all of these guys here.
All
And
of them.
yeah, they all get indicted because the police said that the only reason this happened is because they were drunk and they shouldn't have been having alcohol, but they had alcohol,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
let me see if I can make all of them visible at
That's
once because
crazy, man.
the rest of the story has to do with this. So they all get indicted and they are tried. Let's see, it was May 16th. So this happened on April 27th, and then the trial starts on May 16th. So things
Within
happened
a
real
month.
quick back then.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
not like that now.
No, no, not at all. Okay, I think I got everybody on here, don't I? Or no, maybe not Joe Hill. Here we go. Okay, so you got all five of these people, and they're all being indicted for this murder. So Iris gives her testimony, and then she faints away very dramatically on the stand.
Mm,
And this guy's like, "I don't know anything. I was asleep on the kitchen floor the whole time." And it was a jury of nine women and three men.
Wow.
So what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Are they going to be
Oh.
merciful or not?
Well,
I
it's
mean,
crazy to me that they all could
it's
be the same crime. Because like we
Yeah.
all know Sarah pulled the trigger.
Sarah pulled the trigger.
yeah. But they were all drinking when they weren't supposed to be drinking, so I'm sure they took that
But
into
that ain't
account.
murder.
No, it
Drinking
ain't
ain't
murder,
murder.
but you got to remember it's probably a crime of passion to some degree because she was inebriated and he was hitting on another woman and just in that moment she doesn't have all of her faculties and she found this gun that fell out of Joe Hill's pocket and it was just I heard the news of him doing a thing and I just and it went off.
That's
What
exactly what she did. It was
what
just like
year?
that.
What year was this?
1927.
1927.
27th.
Okay, so I feel. So what are you
Eight
asking us? Is it guilty or
eight
not
women.
guilty?
I'm
So
just
eight
asking you what you think if nine women and three
uh,
men are on the
nine women, that's
jury.
right.
How do you think
Okay.
that they're going to rule on this?
I think that they're gonna I mean, look, I hate to say that it sucks because I don't want the sex to be a to
But
have
it
a
is. It is a
but
factor.
it is a factor. So nine women, they're gonna say that it can't be murder. It's not first degree murder. It's involuntary manslaughter or it's third degree murder where you did something and the person died by your mistake, but it was not intentional, right? And because of the alcohol and because of the triangle of love or whatever,
Huh?
um, she's
What?
guilty, but not of guilty of first degree. They found her guilty of a
It
lesser
wasn't
crime.
pre-planned.
It wasn't
Actually,
pre-planned.
that's really good because like that is they got them all. They convicted them all for manslaughter.
Manslaughter.
Okay.
Okay.
It was a
Yeah.
3.5 hour jury deliberation. They all came back guilty, and a juror was interviewed afterwards. So this is a Hollywood resident, and he said, "We felt that it was about time to call a halt on Hollywood's wild parties and killings. To have returned a verdict of not guilty in this case would have been to put the stamp of approval on such disgraceful carousing."
The,
Mm.
I
So
was
it was
thinking
a
this. If you're a jury, because you think nine women, they'll let her go. But if you're on a jury, you got to, hit certain social standards to get on a jury. And so if they're on a jury, they probably think drinking is evil, Hollywood is evil. So, oh, let's punish these guys. So it kind of makes sense.
well, I'm not even gonna say punish them. I wouldn't say punish them as much as like
Make an
we're
example.
gonna make an example of them because
Yeah.
obviously in that statement it's like we need to wrangle in the Hollywood way of lifestyle to some degree, right? Of what
Yeah.
they've been able to get
Hmm.
away with. So they're like, but obviously they couldn't say not guilty because someone is dead, right? Like it's someone's dead. So someone's got to be guilty of something.
And not just
But
someone. This is like a rising star, and people were like, "Oh, he's going to be the next big thing. He's going
oh,
to be
that's
like
right.
the
That's right.
John Wayne of the era or something like that."
Yeah.
Right,
But you're
right.
you're spot on about that. So, within let's see, so within a month they brought that back, and then they all appealed the verdict, of course. But then Sarah was the only one who said, no, I'm going to go to San Quentin right away. The rest of these guys are like, oh, no way. I am going to just hang out at the LA County Jail. And that's what they were doing.
Mm,
And so Sarah goes in, and I showed you guys her mugshot. Let me show
right.
you, I'll show you her full mugshot because I just showed you her face because I didn't want to spoil the story. But here is her mugshot, her intake mugshot. And San Quentin does it so well. They have everybody's life. They can reduce it down to like maybe 4 lines on a sheet of paper like this. But
Mm.
they told, how old she was, how tall she was, how much she weighed. The CPL means complexion. So she had complexion is fair, hazel eyes, brown hair. She got convicted for manslaughter. She was received on 7/9/27. So this
She's
is still remember,
35 years old.
she's
35.
35. But
Okay.
I mean, still remember, this is like she's already in prison doing time for a murder that happened on April 25th. And this is only July 9th, right? So
Jeez,
this is
oh
like very
Wow.
man.
short.
Yeah, they fast tracked this thing. They're like, let's go.
But then
Holy cow.
the end of the story is within a month. They had appealed it, and so this time there was a jury. The High Court gave them a new trial, and this time only Sarah was tried because the others went state's witness. All these
Oh, they
guys.
all turned
Oh, so
on
they
her.
all turned against her.
hmm So they're all state's
Wow.
witnesses, and then they're going to talk about Sarah and how Sarah's super jealous or something like that. But what ended up happening was that this time the jury was 9 men and 3 women. And so, you've got this beautiful defendant, and they were like, you know what? Let's just acquit her. So she was acquitted, and there is a picture of her after she got acquitted. Let's see.
I bet she married one of the jurors. Oh,
Yikes.
So here she
You're
is.
what?
She's cleared in
I
the
could see them
killing.
letting Iris go, but Sarah?
today stands acquitted of manslaughter charges.
So yeah, so this is what happened to her. And only one more thing could I find about her. I searched for her up until the 1950s and said in 1932, Sarah briefly regained the spotlight because they found her engaged in a noisy altercation with a guy named Cleveland Graves I think over a parking spot. And the police brought her in because she was drunk and she was charged with intoxication. But after that, she stayed on the right side of the law.
Wow. Well,
Okay.
parking's tough in LA.
Wow,
Uh,
that's an interesting and great story.
wow. Thank you for
Yeah.
Like,
that,
yeah,
Kimmy.
thank you so much. So I'm gonna distill it down to what the real problem was, and it still exists today.
Okay.
Alcohol.
Oh,
And
Alcohol,
swingers.
alcohol, alcohol. It's alcohol. It's like it dulls the senses, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, and
and you,
guns. Mixing guns
well,
and alcohol
yeah,
didn't
but
help.
it was started with alcohol first, right? They get together. Hey, let's go meet somebody else. Hey, let's go over here and do a thing.
You can
And
say it
then
started with the relationship first.
you got unrequited love, right? Where you got Joe Hill who's like, hey, what's going on, Isabel?
Joe
She's
Hill
like,
wants
no.
some.
Joe Hill
Yeah.
is like, she's refusing my advances. Man, forget her, and just jumps out of a moving car.
Just jumps out of the car.
Jumps out of a car. This is oh man, I feel like this would be we should tell this story in schools as to why you shouldn't drink.
That's funny. That's pretty funny.
Like,
That's
do
funny.
not drink because it's easier to handle rejection when you're sober. You just go, all right, whatever. You keep it
Yeah, there's
moving.
plenty of fish.
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
cares about Iris? I feel like he
Oh
could have probably
man.
gotten with Iris if he really wanted to, but she was yeah, I
And
She
he
think
was
looked
playing.
rough, man. He was too rough. She was a city girl. She Hollywood. You can't just get them Hollywood girls who come off the farm. Let me tell you, it's tough down here, Kim. It's tough.
well, I mean,
Yeah,
he could have gotten in on this like real live cowboy thing that all these other guys are getting in on,
Maybe,
right?
yeah,
maybe.
And I don't know
yeah.
if he had the
I thought you were gonna say you could have got into a yoga studio, maybe.
Solid, silly.
Joe
No,
Hill
man,
here, gonna do some stretching.
dude, this is so this is amazing. Like I love these stories. I cannot say that I knew prior to this that I would enjoy that time period and these stories as much as I am right now. Like
Yeah,
even
it's
like I
so
said,
different.
yeah, you have definitely sparked something where I'm like, okay, I got to get these books and I need to read them.